welcome back to Moving to New Zealand. Today I have Olivia joining us. Hello, thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, I have not met Olivia before. I found her on TikTok. First, you have a beautiful smile, like your eyes and everything.
Thank you.
Like, oh, it just looks so nice. And then, yeah, and it looks like you just moved here, like very
Yeah.
recently. How recent have you made this move?
It's like a month and some days. I moved here June. So yeah, just barely crossed that 1 month mark.
Oh my gosh, so new. So you have this major mental load of just everything right now. That's what some of the other Americans we call it. Like just going to the grocery store is a mental challenge because you don't know where things are and you're looking for cilantro and it's called coriander.
Yes.
Like that.
Yeah, that I specifically I cried to my mom about that. I was like, even going to the grocery store is hard and it's more complicated because 'cause I'm gluten free. And so like trying to navigate that too on top of just like buying regular groceries was frustrating the first like 2 weeks.
So where are you? Are you on the North Island?
Yes, so I'm on the North Island in Auckland because I figured that'd be easiest to get around to start with, which I so far I think it's been the right move for me.
Yeah. So you're in the city.
Yeah.
So transportation wise, you can use public transportation and walk places.
Mhm.
So you don't need
Mhm.
a car so much. So are you living how did you get your flat or your apartment or what's your living situation?
And so I started out in an Airbnb for my first almost month, not quite a full month. That way I could get bank accounts and whatnot set up. And then I found the place that I'm currently at through Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
And met the girls I'm flatting with and yeah, and it ended up working out, which was great.
Did they require references from previous rentals or anything like that?
So they specifically did not, but the landlord did.
Yeah.
Um, Thankfully, through TikTok, I met another American,
Uh,
and they were the ones that suggested the Airbnb to me and gave me that heads up of
oh,
people require a New Zealand landlord reference.
okay.
Um, and I really lucked out. My Airbnb host, her and her husband were phenomenal and they were able to support me in that way. And I asked her, I was like, "Hey, are you okay with this?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "Yeah, no problem."
Nice. Because,
Yeah.
this other American who's been here a long time, she helps people get settled here, but more people relocating for a job, and she gives the advice to people, "Come with your previous land you have to come with a recommendation or a reference or something because
Mhm.
rental market is so tight." Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I prior to moving out here immediately, I was living at home to save some money. But I had a landlord prior to that. And I'm sure I could have reached out to them, but I feel like it gets a little dicey with them being in America versus here. So yeah, it worked out nice being able to use my host as a reference.
That's so good. Has that Airbnb host, hosted other Americans who are in that transition? So they
Yeah, they have. There was actually when I moved in, there was another American that her and I overlapped by like a day or two. And she used her as a reference for some stuff too.
Oh, that's so good. I know having those connections right off the bat. So my husband's from here.
Mm,
I already had like a leg up and stuff, and we had a place to live. But even his friends were helpful, and they were like letting us borrow kitchen stuff and beds and just not everyone, like, but these certain friends like came to their rescue.
yeah.
And, how do I do this? How do I do that? To answer that. So yeah, coming here with like no one, I can't even imagine. So what part of America did you move from?
So I say I'm from Hawaii because that's the only place that has really felt like home. I was born there and immediately after college moved back out there. But my family is in South Carolina, right outside of Charleston or even Savannah, Georgia might be a better reference.
Yeah.
So came from the South out here, but I've lived all over the states.
So you were used to a slightly warmer climate. Although in Auckland's a lot warmer than it is down here in Christchurch.
Yes, yes.
How does that this is the middle of winter, so how does that feel for you?
Yeah. Honestly, it hasn't been too bad. Went to college in Michigan.
Oh,
And
okay.
so yeah, so the weather there is very cold, very snowy. And like I'm grateful for the 4 years that I did there, but it made me realize that I don't do snow. Like I can do cold and rain and like does it affect me? Yes, a little bit, but not as bad as the
Yeah.
lake effect snow did. So it hasn't been too bad. I think it's more so just getting used to the rain and how it's like raining for 30 seconds and it might be a full monsoon, but then 5 minutes later it's fine. And as someone who's taking public transit, it's just I never know how to prepare. Like I
Yeah.
got soaked yesterday waiting at my bus stop, but then as soon as I got off the bus, it was sunny. So I was like, okay, here we are.
Oh my gosh. I haven't spent a lot of time in Auckland, but we did our MIQ there, which is the managed isolation that we had to do in 2021 for 2 weeks in a hotel. Every day I had the windows open. So we arrived in July. Actually, like we flew out 4 years ago today.
Oh,
It was around this time, and I just remember having the windows open. I'm like, this is winter." Like, it's not that
yeah.
bad, but then I got down here and it was a bit colder. What made you decide, "I'm gonna just" have you ever been here before to New Zealand?
I have not.
Okay. So what made you decide,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go to New Zealand"?
So even as a kid, I was like, and a lot of this is with hindsight now, especially since getting here. I've always been obsessed with this part of the world, especially Australia, which I feel is not common where I'm from. And like even at one point as a kid, I was like, I'm gonna be a marine biologist and work on the Great Barrier Reef, and like that's just gonna be my life. Somewhere as I got older, that fell off. But I wouldn't say it was about 2 years ago now. Well, let me say 3 years ago, I quit my job and moved back home with my family, and that I left Hawaii, and so I went back to visit about a year later, and I was sitting there on a beach that I absolutely adore, and I was just praying to God and the universe. I was like, "Okay, like, what's next?" Because I was like, "I don't wanna be at home forever," but I also just genuinely don't know what I wanna do next, and I just had this feeling that God was telling me to just keep going west. And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Hey, that's really broad because west of Hawaii is here, it's Australia, it's Southeast Asia. There's not really anything in particular, you know?" But the more I sat with it, at first I was like, "Okay, well, maybe I'll go to Australia." That's something I've always wanted to do, but I lost sleep over it. I just felt so anxious, even though I was making connections with people in Melbourne and was planning on going there, but it was actually after a conversation with a cousin of mine. He him and his family, when he was in high school, his mom is a doctor and they came out here. They lived in Hamilton and loved it. And I told him, I was like, I'm thinking about moving abroad, like maybe New Zealand. And his face lit up. And I didn't know about his backstory prior to like mentioning it to him. And just, like, after more conversations with him, conversations with other friends and family, everyone was like, "We think that you would really enjoy it out there." And it just felt like piece after piece just kept falling into place, and, like, even I would meet total strangers, and this would come up in conversation that I was talking about moving, and they'd be like, "Oh my gosh," like, either I went there or I have family there. Even so much as, like, the 2 girls that replaced me at my job, um they both have connections to New Zealand, indirectly and directly. So I was like, I feel like the universe is pointing, all signs are pointing to New Zealand. Oh, yeah.
So what, visa pathway did you end up doing?
I ended up doing the working holiday visa, um, because it was the quickest, it was the cheapest, and that's just the space that I was in. I have a background in teaching, and arguably, if I really wanted to, I could go that pathway. But like most teachers, I'm burnt out, and I really don't want to be in a classroom right now. I'm not going to say never, but just for this season right now, I don't want to be. So, yeah, I went the working holiday route.
Nice. And so you've been looking for work, and has that
Mhm.
Been a difficult difficult journey?
Yes. It's been, it's been difficult, and I think it's more so because I've been working in some capacity full-time and part-time since I got into college,
Yeah,
and so being forced now not to work was more so the challenge than, actually trying to find a job. And, everyone I talk to, they're like, "The market here is shit," and it's like, "Yeah, I can see that," but someone else, his name is Stan Chenley, I might get his last name wrong, but he runs the Attention Seeker, and in conversation with him, he made a great point. He's like, "It's not that there's a lack of work, especially in the arts and media space, but it's people are scared to spend money. They're being conservative because everyone's bracing for what
yeah.
the economy is gonna do next. So it's not a lack of talent, it's not even a lack of jobs, it's just people are more wary now. And I'm like, I can see that because I see the job postings, but
Yeah.
on one job posting, there might be 4 or 500 candidates. So I can only imagine what that's like on an employer's side of having to sift through all of that.
Because I'm doing my master's, I'm friends with people in those hiring positions and roles.
Mhm.
A lot of them are lifelong New Zealanders, but they did say for roles they used to get maybe 15 or 20 applicants for, they're getting like 500. And so
Yeah.
they can't even, like, go through them all. They're obviously using
Yeah.
AI to, like, pull out certain things, but it's not yeah,
Mhm.
it's just really crazy, how many people are applying, and then a lot of those people might not even be here yet. They're just, like, trying to get a job
Yeah.
or a pathway in. I came in 2021. I applied for 1 job. I that was, like,
Mm,
I got the first job I applied for, but also
that's great.
the borders were closed. So,
Yeah.
it was there wasn't they were looking for no one could come in, all the holiday working visas, like, no one besides citizens,
Yeah.
healthcare, nurses could come in. So I was like, "Oh, yeah," like, I knew it would be easy because of
Mm,
course, like, I'm so employable. So, when I was like, "Okay, this is actually really bad pay, and this isn't as" it was interesting, but not and I left. And then, yeah, basically, I've had a couple contract roles, but I
mhm.
have really struggled now, like, it's completely different now 4 years later
Yeah.
than it was, and even having a little bit of New Zealand experience, under my belt, it's just
Mhm.
I'm in, like, that same thing, like, apply, apply, apply. My
Mhm.
MBA colleague, she just moved to Auckland thinking
Yeah.
it's better up there. She said she applied to 200 positions, and she just finally
Mhm.
like, after 2
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah, yeah, I believe it. Everyone keeps telling me it's, like, you gotta get in front of people. And it's
yeah,
like, "Okay, well, I understand that," but also a lot of places, they don't on their websites, they say not to walk in and hand them your CV, or at least the places I've been applying to, and so I'm like, "Okay, well, how do I network my way into a job without, physically walking into a store? Because 'Cause I've told my friends that I've made here, I'm like, "I'm willing to scrub toilets." Like, I don't care. I don't care. I need a job, and then I can work on getting that better job that I want, you
like,
know?
just starting somewhere, yeah. Even my husband's being the Kiwi, he's like, "I never anticipated this being such a hurdle." Like, he's even shocked by it.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
I think it is just the timing, and hopefully it swings up soon and,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
I know, so I saw on your TikTok too, you're like, "I wanna go out and explore, but I don't wanna spend the money because, like, more money's
Yeah.
coming in," which is definite
Yeah.
I feel that, like, my kids talk about that too because when we first got here, we still had American money, so we did all this
Mhm.
adventuring and, like,
Yeah.
all the things. Go out to eat because I love when traveling, I love going out to eat because then you get to experience
Mhm.
local cuisine. It's like my kids and I are both
Yeah.
we're foodies, so we love
Yeah.
we're like, "We can't." Um,
Yeah.
and that's, like, one of our fun things to do, but also yeah, so it just makes it difficult. I was thinking too, like, when you travel to another country, you're just
Mhm.
tourist or visiting, it's really exciting when you're like, "Oh, what let's go to this grocery store and see what's different. Oh, let's see what they have." But I think when
Mhm.
you're actually, like, moving here and you're trying to do your bank account and find a job,
Mm.
all of the other life stresses, like,
Yeah.
it's not so much exciting and fun, it's become,
Yeah.
like, annoying.
Yes, yeah, and it drops you back into survival mode without even realizing it.
Yeah.
even though you might be in a safe position and, like, you might have the financial stability initially, but it's like, "Okay, like, I don't know what I'm doing, and this is my new reality. I don't get to go home in
Yeah.
a couple of days," you know?
Yeah, you gotta make it when you moved here, did you just bring a couple suitcases? It's totally
Mhm,
small.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I got rid of, I would say, like, 90% of my stuff, 95-ish, but yeah, I brought 2 suitcases and my camera bag and a carry-on, and that was it.
So are you a photographer?
I am.
Okay. Is that
Yeah.
trying to get into here?
Yeah, I would like to be in photography full time here, but eventually I wanna be on, like, the journalism side of it,
Okay.
which is where my Instagram and TikTok handle comes from because I that's what I wanna do is I wanna tell people stories and working on telling my own story. I feel like it's always harder when it's your own, but yeah, so I wanna do photography and journalism full time.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So those are the type of positions you're looking for?
Yes, ideally, that's what I would like to do, but again, I'm looking for anything, and not coincidentally, but I think it's funny that I have a lot of experience in a lot of random fields, like, I've done event management, I've done teaching, a lot of different things, so it makes it nice that I can cast a wide net right now, and like I said, work towards that in the long run.
Has anyone given you advice about how, like, Kiwis are more humble than Americans tend to be?
No one has given me advice, but I have through, like, my own research, I've learned about that, and, like, tall poppy syndrome has come up a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's been an interesting dynamic to navigate, or at least as an American looking in, I see that and I recognize that, but then also the sense of humor here is like taking the piss out of each other. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, it doesn't in my head it doesn't match. But I think that it probably works all together better than I realized.
Do people, like, in the stores or wherever you are out and about always ask you where you're from?
Yeah, and it's usually with a question mark because my accent, it's clearly American, but it's not
Yeah.
like a distinguishable accent to any part of the country. So yeah, especially the first couple of weeks here, people would be like, "So you're American?" I was like, "Yes, I'm American." A friend thought I was Canadian because I guess I said about funny,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
was like, "Nope, nope."
Well, I get asked if I'm Canadian, but people do that because they don't wanna offend you if you're not. You That's what people have told me, like, we say Canadian so we don't offend you if you are, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not easily."
yeah,
But, yeah, because I haven't been on TikTok very long, so I did
yeah.
a podcast, like, this is for my MBA, it was like an experiment, and it's kind of about, like, making connections, and also, I have a teenage daughter, and social media is just like a weird it's like, how do I navigate
Mhm.
it? And I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I just love listening to them in the car. And so sometimes social media can be just such a quick snippet and
Yeah.
this longer form discussions, where it's not
Mhm.
just a quick bite.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so it was kind of that's how I did it, and then, like, to advertise it, I was thinking I was gonna be able
Mhm.
to put it in the moving to New Zealand groups, like the Facebook groups, but
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to because it's, like, of promotion. How, like, groups have those rules, so I was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
So then someone was like, "You should put it on TikTok." I'm like, "Oh, TikTok, that's a scary place." Like,
Yeah.
I'm too old.
Yeah.
And then I, like, went viral, like, the first week on accident, like, it just
Oh, no.
accident, and then it was like I was running into people that saw it, like, in like because it
Yeah.
directs it towards, like, the people in my area, and I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
I don't want Christchurch people seeing it, I want Americans to see it." Like, my
Yeah.
target audience is Americans, but that's not how it works, and so
Yeah.
yeah, and so then all these people were like, "Oh, I saw your TikTok." I'm like, "No, I don't want you to." So then it was kinda like feeling exposed.
Yeah.
A and it also, like, I would accidentally piss people off, but totally not trying to.
Mhm.
A lot of people are just curious about moving here, and
Yeah.
seems to be, with the timing and everything of what's happening, it's really ticked up, like, the curiosity
Yeah.
of moving here. So that's kind of where I've gone, but I've really, really enjoyed hearing different people's stories and, like, their journey.
Yeah.
It's all everyone has a unique experience. I know, and I had a lot of parents that I had on, but I really
Mhm.
get to hear from, people who are just making this journey by themselves because it was
Yeah.
a lot more scary, like, to just
Yeah.
self. What is, like, so how long did you prep and prepare for the move?
I would say passively for a year and then another year of actively preparing. And I say passively just because it was more so like, hey, this is a thought, and just like thinking through and talking with people. But then it was about a year, maybe a year and a half of actively being like, no, this is happening. We
Yeah.
need to start saving money and let the jobs know and stuff like that so we can get the ball rolling.
Yeah. So, have you been able to try some, like, New Zealand cuisine? I know you said you're
Uh,
gluten-free, so that might rule out fish and chips and meat pies.
yeah, I I posted a video of me trying to meat pie, which the, like, thing that's crack up is to me is, like, I had one prior to filming that video and, like, ate it the proper way, but in my head, when I made that video, I was like, "You know what? I see all the food influencers, like, they cut into it, so it felt awkward doing it." But then, obviously, the comments were people just ripping into me in the best way possible, and in my head, I was like, "I know." And, like, after I took off the video, turned off recording, I ate it with my hands, I was like, "I should've just recorded the whole thing." But it was so good. I told my mom, I was like, "It might be worth it to have the allergic reaction once a month." 'Cause I thought it was so good. So I've tried that. I found a gluten-free fish and chips. They were okay, but I think maybe it's just I need to find one. It just wasn't seasoned very well, it's just very bland, but I
Yeah.
I feel like that's just common with gluten-free food across the board. So definitely keen to try that again. Trying to think what else. I don't think I did a skewer because I got here in time for Matariki
Okay.
and went to a night market and they had some skewers there, and, like, it makes me chuckle, like, how many kebabs and, like, skewer places I see around here because it's not something that you
Yeah.
would necessarily expect about New Zealand. So, yeah, I'm slowly making my way around, and I was chatting with my flatmates the other night, and because I asked them, I was like, "What is, like, Kiwi food?" And they're like, "We outside of, like, meat pies and, like, fish and chips, we don't really know," but I told them, "I think it's more so the candy here." Like, prior to coming here, I heard more about the candy than I did anything else. Yeah.
Well, and I guess, like, if we're talking their native cuisine, it would be like Hungy food, which a lot of people don't
Mhm.
like Hungy food. It's, like, broiled in the ground and stuff, and then, like, Kina, like, is a fish, and well, it's not even a fish, it's like, more like a
It's like a sea urchin,
yeah,
right?
sea urchin, and I've had some that I love seafood, but, like, I've had some that I just can't even eat, and then some has been
Mhm.
cooked okay. I'm actually allergic to pawa. I eat tons of seafood, but pawa
Yeah.
makes me vomit, and I don't know like, so I'm not, like, anaphylactic, but yeah, very weird.
Yeah.
My husband's friend made, like, pawa patties, and I was really excited
Yeah.
about that, and then
Yeah.
no, and I've
Yeah.
tried it a couple times, so it wasn't like a one-time thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
And,
yeah, yeah.
but they do, like, raw fish, which is basically ceviche,
Mm.
but they just say
Mhm.
fish, and I quite like that. It's, like, in coconut milk.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, like, the lollies and the candies are I go home, my brother-in-law's a Kiwi, but he lives in America. We literally bring him home, like, 20 pounds of lollies.
And, like, the Whittaker's chocolate and the pineapple lumps and, like, stuff like that, yeah.
Do
Yeah,
you
like, I know more about the candies here than I do anything else.
have you had the new Whittaker's banana caramel?
No.
It only came out last week, and I think our family's had 3 of them, like, I told them last night and by family, I mean, like, 2 of us have had more than the rest, but I said
Yeah.
last night, "We're not gonna buy any more of these." They we s my we said they taste like Banana Foster, which is like an American New Orleans I looked up, I knew it was American, but it's New Orleans, and it's, like has, like, rum and butter, and so I think that's why, like, the caramel
Okay.
here, the dessert is a British dessert called banafi.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they say that the chocolate bar is kinda supposed to play off of that, those flavors,
Interesting.
like that dessert. But yeah, you should try that.
Okay, I will add it to the list.
Good one. Because I don't like any of the chocolate they put jelly and they put gummy candies into chocolate, and that's a no for me, but and the
Okay.
lolly cake here is like a cake
Uh-huh.
with lollies in it, and again, I know adults
Huh.
who just love it, and I'm like, "No, no, 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 I can't." Um,
Yeah.
but do you drink coffee?
Like, occasionally. I was telling friends, I was like, "I'm more keen to try coffee here because 'cause I've heard it's better." Everyone I talk to, they're like, "American coffee is awful," and I'm like, "I don't disagree."
Yeah.
Um, I've had I've had a flat white since I've gotten here, and, like, man, the caffeine went to my head, but I
Oh,
think that's
fine,
more
yeah,
so
the
'cause
coffee here is strong.
yeah.
Even if, like, an American drank drip coffee, like, I don't know,
Mhm.
donuts or Starbucks or something, and then you come here and it's, like, all espresso, I can tell that I am now used to this higher caffeinated coffee for sure.
Yeah.
But I do like, a lot of people love the coffee culture here and, like, all the cafes,
Mhm.
stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um
Yeah, I love that there's such a culture around tea here. Like, I'm a huge tea drinker, and
Mm,
so, like, it makes me so happy that almost everywhere I go, people are like, "So, you want a cup of tea?" And I was like, "Yeah."
yeah.
Twist my arm.
Yeah, like, if I just showed up at a friend's house, she's like, "You want a cuppa? You want a" like, that's
Yeah,
"Want a cuppa?" And they automatically will make you a hot drink, that could be tea or coffee, but, like, yeah, whenever
yeah,
you go to someone's house, it's not like, "Oh, do you want a water or something?" It's like a hot drink,
yeah,
and they drink co and so when you do work, if you work in an
yeah.
office or something, at 10 AM or 10:30, there's morning tea. Mean you go to the fairly real days, they called it the smoko, like the smoko room or something like
Ah,
no one obviously
okay.
smoking anymore on their tea break, but well, not inside at least. But, yeah, like, it's a big culture about going and getting, like, your tea or your hot drink around 10:30 or maybe a
Mhm.
snack, and then there's, like, afternoon tea as well. So,
Yeah.
that's kind of a cool different culture. But have you found any foods or anything or even products or anything
Mhm.
out and about that you're like, "Oh, wow, I haven't seen this before. This is really great."
There's a drink, I'm gonna butcher the name, so I'm not even gonna try and say it, but the L&P, lemonades, I love that. Like, a friend introduced me to it, and I was like, it reminds me of, like, a Long Island iced tea, but better.
Okay.
And so, like, anytime I get a chance to get that, like, it makes me so excited. But I feel like it has that, like, nice balance between sweet and tart that is just, like, right in the middle. So, yeah, go nuts about that.
Are your flatmates Kiwis?
Yes.
That's cool. So they can give you some pointers and explain
Yeah.
things to you. Just
Yeah.
because like, some sayings and words I mean, I guess, like, we can look things up on the internet these days, so it's, like, not
Mhm.
like we're totally left in the dark, but it's funny because sometimes I've been here long enough that I'm like, "Wait, is that the Kiwi way or the American way?" Because it's almost get
Mm.
husband did that too, being in America and now
Mhm.
here. He's like, "Now I get confused of what's what."
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Blended together. Okay, so what fun have you been able to do any fun activities besides just kinda setting up life?
Yeah, I got plugged in with the church, because back at home, that was really the only way to make friends. There wasn't a lot of third spaces to, like, go out and meet people, so I've been able to make friends and hang out with them, and we're doing a murder mystery night next week that I'm really excited about, joined 2 run clubs, and so, like, I'm getting out there and doing stuff.
Yeah.
But it's more so I'm trying to figure out how to fill my day because, like, daytime, everyone's at work, and then my afternoons are packed. I started taking a dance class in the evenings, which is fun. So,
Oh, so that is definitely a way you'll meet people, like, do
yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I feel like my kids were older, so I didn't get to meet parents. A lot of people with young
Mm,
kids meet friends through their kids, but mine were like it was that weird age, and so that didn't work out. But, yeah, I joined a gym and then had friends
yeah.
from the gym, and it's kind of and then I joined and went back to school, and so a lot of the people I hang out
Yeah.
with now are from school. And actually,
Yeah.
My husband's always like, "You need to meet Kiwi friends because that's the connections you need," especially Christchurch is a lot more clicky
Yeah,
than Auckland, and so every time
yeah.
I'm like, "I met a new friend," he goes, "What country are they from?" I'm like, "Not this one." Oh,
Not this one. That's so funny. Yeah, no, I get it. I one of the groups I joined or checked out, I should say, it was international students and like the people there absolutely lovely. But I was like, I not that it was necessarily an echo chamber, but I'm like, I'm here to meet people from New Zealand and like there yes, there's value in meeting other people that are international because when they started talking about visas, like, made my heart so happy. I'm like someone else who understands what I'm
yeah.
going through and, like, the restrictions that I have on me right now. But also, like, I went to my first rugby match the other day to watch because a friend that I made, she's from the UK, but her partner plays in one of the rugby teams here, and so, like, that was so much fun.
Did you know the rules?
Um a little bit. I
Yeah,
was that one American that loved rugby before the Olympics. I knew more so about, like, the penalties beyond that, not too much. Yeah, so, like, I wanna do more things that, like, New Zealand is known for. Rugby and, like, in Hawaii oh gosh, Hawaii and, Rail are very similar
oh,
in their languages, and so
okay.
it's like what we might have a a V for, it's like a do here or something like that, and here I think it's called Wakaama. It's the, like, outrigger canoe racing, and so,
Yeah.
like, I did that in Hawaii, and, like, I would love to become a part of a club that does that here.
That up near where you live?
Yeah, there's a couple of spots. I'm hesitant because 'cause I'm a wimp and it's cold outside, but
Yeah.
definitely once summer starts to roll around, I'm gonna try and find a league to join.
That's really cool. Yeah, my daughter was saying, like, being able to try touch rugby here, and,
Yeah.
she said tennis too, which is, like, obviously Americans have tennis, but it wasn't like
Mhm.
we're, like, 5 minutes from the tennis club that she plays at. I think, like, the touch rugby would be more New Zealand specific, but other sports she gets to play here, she said she's had an opportunity to try different sports because of the accessibility.
Yeah.
And, like, they have all those they just call it hockey, but field hockey clubs,
Mhm.
even I could play, and I love
Yeah.
that they have so many adult league sport
Yes.
yeah,
Yes, I think that's honestly, that's one thing that I think New Zealand is doing so well, is, like, there's so much accessibility for adults in terms of, like, recreational stuff.
yeah,
That I feel like you just don't find in the States, and it might just be where I've lived, but even in Hawaii where I was on the main island and, like, you would think that there would be more to do, but it's like once you graduate high school, there's nothing for you unless you're retired, and even then, it's a stretch.
So is your visa for a certain amount of time and then you have to apply for the next one? Or how does that like, what's the constraints?
Yeah. So my visa is for a year, and
Uh-huh.
I believe because of my age, can't extend. I might be able to extend for 6 months, but even the like extension, I think it's contingent on me having a specific job,
Yeah,
a specific job in hospitality, I think. So yeah, I have a year and I turn 30 next year. I mean, and again, I say this very much jokingly, but I'm like, it's either gonna be a job or a boy that keeps me here. I would prefer the job. The boy would be a bonus, but it's just yeah, so I can only be here for a year and I can't accept anything permanent on this visa. I can work full-time hours. I can do literally whatever job I would like,
yeah,
as long as it's not considered permanent.
okay. So that's okay. So you have to
Yeah.
specifically look for jobs that aren't permanent.
Yeah, and so it has to either be a fixed term or casual.
Have you tried a recruiter?
I have not.
I have to say,
I
I had really good
yeah.
luck with recruiters, like the short term kind, especially down here, but they basically get contract work. And so I had
Mm,
contract work through them. And right now they have, so in the beginning of using them, it was great. Now they have a lot of people and not a lot of positions.
yeah.
But yeah, they can really get you like, they can get you in the door, get you the interview. It's like and it's free for you.
Mhm.
You could just meet with them,
Mhm.
give your CV to them, and at least get them
Mhm.
throwing throwing your CV out to people.
Yeah.
My husband and I talked about this because financially, recruiters take a lot of the money from, like,
Yeah.
the employer, and I always have had kind of a about recruiters and, that
Mhm.
my husband said his company, they do a lot of it too, and he's like, "Do you know how much money
Mhm.
we pay them?" But it seems to be
Yeah.
Kiwi way. So,
Okay.
like, they have their reasons of why they love it, and they
Mhm.
really like, even government positions, like, they love recruiters, private companies, a lot of them use
Okay.
them. I just had a opinion about them. I know using them for specific industries makes sense, especially if you have, like,
Mhm.
skill and, but
Yeah.
recruiters are a big thing here. So,
Okay.
yeah,
I'll
and
have to look into that.
connection.
Yeah.
So if you go in, you'll go in and meet with your recruiter company. They get a face to face. They're like, okay, this girl's is lovely and
Mhm.
presents themselves well, and oh wow, okay. And then they have all these connections out in this, in the city,
Mhm.
and they can bring you forward.
Oh, good. Yeah, because like, in America is or I guess that's my only context. It's not like you said, unless you have a very, like, high-skilled job, recruiters you don't use a recruiter
Yeah.
to get your job.
Yeah, so especially when you just said the short-term contracts and everything, that's exactly what a lot of them that's only what they do, is those short-term contracts.
Mhm.
And then say you get one and it's like a 3-month or 4-month one, um,
Yeah.
then they get good feedback and then they, like,
Mhm.
into the next one. So once you just
Mhm.
one with them, even if it's a 2 weeks, even if it's like
Yeah.
I did one, it was like a 3-week PA cover. I don't know if it was EA or PA, like a 3-week cover for that, but, I
Yeah.
hustled, it was nice,
Yeah.
proved myself, and then that recruiter was like, "They loved you, okay, let me put you in another one." And it's kind of fun, those, like, short-term contracts because you get a taste of different industries.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
you
I'll definitely have to look into that.
ask questions, and now I'm, like, throwing out advice, sorry.
No, it's okay. I appreciate it. I'm in the space right now of, like, I don't know what I don't know, you know?
Yeah,
And so
I'm
I'm like,
still not
I'm willing to listen.
we're not as, we're just not as populated down here as either.
Mhm.
A lot of people move
Yeah, isn't
from Auckland because of the traffic.
yeah, that's fair. Like, thankfully, I haven't had to drive in it, but just, like, watching it from the outside, it looks kinda nasty.
Do you think any of your family or friends will come visit you here?
Friends, yes. My family would be a little tougher
Yeah.
just right now with the season that they're in, but I'm hoping I have some friends that wanna come visit. There's one friend that I'm thinking of in particular, they're like, "We might it'd be next fall for us, that they might come down and visit." A lot of my friends are big Lord of the Rings fans,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
probably gonna be mad at me for saying this. I think it's okay, but for them, I will go down to Hobbiton and, like, do all of that fun stuff because why not? So, yeah, I'm hoping, I'll have friends coming through, to see me.
yeah, for sure. I know everyone says they wanna visit New Zealand, and then when it comes down to it, I've only had one friend visit in 4 years, and I'm old,
Yeah.
so I have friends with, like,
Mhm.
financial stability to travel, but they just travel everywhere else. So they
Yeah. It's expensive. I feel like people are hesitant to come because it's expensive to get here, but
Yeah.
especially with the American dollar, the exchange rate, you're gonna be spending more,
Yeah.
but it's still in your favor,
Yeah,
you
when my
know?
parents come, my mom's, like, constantly, like, doing a conversion, and when they just came last time, the US dollar was like 181. It was so good.
That's great.
Got so high, my mom did her Wise transfer when it was, like, the highest it had been in years, and it's constant, "Oh, it's not that bad. Oh, it's not that bad." I'm like, "Well, you're
Yeah.
earning New Zealand dollars, are you?"
Yeah, exactly.
Also, when I go home now to America and have to tip, I'm like
Yes.
where I was always a super big tipper, like, generous tipper that was
Yeah.
and then when I first moved here, I tipped out of habit, and then I was like, "No, I
Mhm.
stop that because no one does that except
Yeah,
tourists."
no one d yeah, yeah, that's not a thing here, which is nice 'cause, you know how much you're gonna be paying and don't have to worry about the extra, but yeah, it's nice having the American dollar initially getting here.
Yeah.
'Cause I was literally telling someone yesterday of like, yes, money's going out, but it's not going out as fast as I thought it would, just with like day-to-day stuff.
Yeah. And so because you're so fresh and new to this, like what is
Mhm,
something you're going through now that someone who is potentially moving here, what advice would you
mhm.
give? Like on that first week, that first, first month,
Yeah,
you're kind of in it.
yeah, yeah, I guess a couple of things. One, I would say apply for your IRD number before you get here.
Okay.
Um Because you can I think I'm like 90%, 95% sure, you might, like, fact check me, it's fine, but I believe that there's a way that you can apply for it while you're still overseas, and
Okay.
then once you get here, you can, like, activate it because you need a bank account to be attached to it, and a friend had suggested to me opening a bank account before I got here, and she was like, "I'm with Bank of New Zealand," so, like, that's how she set up hers, and when I went to look into it, since I didn't have a job offer, I couldn't set up my account, and
Uh,
she did coming over because she came over on a different visa. So and I don't know if Bank of New Zealand is the norm or if other banks I could have. So if you can set up a bank account before you get here because you have a job offer, great, do it. It's gonna be super helpful, and then you can activate it once you get here. If not, that first week that you're here, whether you have accommodations, like a physical house or apartment to go to, or you're doing Airbnb like I did, all I had to do was get a letter from my host saying, "This person lives here. I'm the owner of this property," or whatever. And that's what I use as what we would call in America my proof of residency. So I was able to take that into the bank and that and my passport, and they set up my account and no problem. And then once I had that, then I could apply for my IRD number. But I didn't do that until a couple weeks in to being here because I thought I was just operating under the assumption that I needed a job to do it, but I don't have a job, so I can't do that. And it's like, no, that's not the case. Now that I'm in the country, it doesn't matter. I just need to go
yeah.
and physically do it. So yeah, I would sort out like the quote unquote legal stuff because I applied for my IRD number and it went outside of the window of processing time,
Okay.
which it doesn't normally do that. So I had to call them and be like, "Hey, what's going on with my application?" And they're like, "Well, did you go verify your identity at" and I was like, "Yes, I went there. I did it the day that I got the message." And they're like, "Okay, we'll call back the next day and we'll if you still haven't gotten something, then we'll get you set up." And I was like, "Okay." So sure enough, I called them back, spoke to a really nice lady. She's like, "Okay, well, since you've done everything right, I'm just gonna put a note in your file that like we need to speed this up and someone will contact you end of tomorrow if you still haven't gotten anything." And
Uh,
I got off the phone with her and sure enough, like an hour or so later, the email came through with all my information. Trying to think what else.
just
It's
listeners, IRD is the equivalent
yeah.
to IRS, right?
Yes, it's your tax number, and for Americans, our tax number, as an individual is our Social Security number, but
Mhm.
here it's separate. I don't know if there's necessarily, like, a Social Security
No, there's
thing.
not.
No.
It's just
Oh,
yeah. So, like,
yeah.
children don't have to have an IRD at all. Like,
Mm,
in America, like, we're born and we get a Social Security number, more or less.
yeah,
Well, I guess your parents.
yeah,
To be honest, I had my 2nd kid at home, and we didn't name her for 2 weeks, and so she didn't have one for a long time, but at some point, you have to register your child
yes,
state or the
yeah,
town in the case, and then the town does it, and that gets the ball so, yeah, you even in a hospital, I think they make you do it before you leave.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
so here,
yeah,
the kids just walk around without an IRD. The only reason that a kid would need an IRD if they're not working
mhm,
is if the family is collecting benefits, like
yeah,
a family income benefit or food assistance, yeah, any of that,
yeah,
then they need to have the kids thing because basically you're getting the benefit because of your dependent children, but
mhm.
yeah, so it's an interesting thing. And then what was the oh, you said AA, which
Yeah, oh, it's not I've goodness. The Automobile
as
Association?
yeah, I think
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
not do they issue licenses, but
Yeah.
what'd they do? They verified your ID there?
Yeah, they verified all of my, identification documents. Like, I brought in they verified my passport, my residency, my visa. It was definitely interesting because it back at home, it would be the equivalent of, like, going to the DMV, but, like, our DMV is only the only motor vehicle stuff,
Yeah.
and you have to go to, like, 10 other offices to do everything else.
Did you have to make an appointment at AA or did you just walk in?
I just walked in.
'Cause I couldn't remember. Yeah, I think you have to make an appointment to, like, get a license.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously did this when I came, I just don't remember,
Mhm.
and I didn't do it
Yeah.
right away because I didn't
Mhm.
like, my husband still had his bank account here from all those years ago,
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
it was kind of, like, not as rushed, like, I didn't even though
Mhm.
we had a car, when as soon as we left, isolation, I didn't drive for, like,
Mhm.
maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know why I was so I drove here 20 years ago when I was a student, but,
Yeah.
I was young and more brave maybe, I don't know. Also the
Yeah.
car that we had is a big van, so it isn't just
Mm.
driving a big vehicle and also on the other side of the road and, like, the roundabouts here well, you haven't done it,
Mhm.
but
The roundabouts are funny. I'm not driving them, and I'm still like, these are wild."
we have so many down here, and it was funny because I was talking to some of the other Americans that live here about
Yeah.
basically, I saw a TikTok from a young American woman who said, like, she gets really, like, triggered when people ask where she's from, like, it bothers her. Yeah, and so
Okay.
I had never heard of that before, like, people are just curious, and it's such a melting pot
Yeah.
here that it's
Yeah.
so many nationalities and stuff. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I was asking the Americans in our American chat, have you guys ever been upset or triggered or, like, offended? And everyone's like, "No." And I'm like, "Okay, this is just a perspective I've never heard before." And I go, "You
Yeah.
guys know what triggers me, roundabouts. As soon as I get in it, I, like, feel my body heat rise, and I will jump out of a plane, like, I will do all of these, like, crazy, like, risky behaviors, but I don't know what it is about a New Zealand roundabout, and it just throws
Yeah.
me int my kids,
Yeah.
they, like, make fun of me. They're
They're
like
like, "You don't know."
they're like, "Are you gonna get flipped off today?" I'm like, "Possible likely, yes."
Probably. Yeah.
I mean, at least once a week I get flipped off. Um,
Yeah.
and that's like Christchurch driving. I don't know about Auckland driving, but
Yeah.
my mom took my kids up there the last school holiday and she was like stressed about driving in Auckland. I'm like, "You've driven in Boston and you'll be fine." And then she said, she's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so you give that piece of advice, get your stuff set up right away. Anything
Yeah. Yeah. Get your stuff set up right away. If you're gonna ride the bus, go get it set up at the airport because you
Oh,
can.
okay.
I was just too sleep deprived and overwhelmed to let that process, even though my Airbnb host, she was like, "You can do this at the airport." But I was like, "I'm just gonna take a Uber to my accommodation and I will figure out bus lines later," which I'm glad that I did that, but I think if I had a little more foresight, I would have at least gotten my card set up there and
Yeah.
then the next day, started using the bathroom. I guess just in general, be like, it's gonna be hard. Like,
Yeah.
not it's hard. It's really hard to make a move, much less an international move. But everyone I have met here has been so kind and so willing to help in whatever way they possibly can. The amount of people in 1 week that they hear I'm looking for a job, they're like, "Okay, well, what are you looking for?" So I can ask around.
Yeah.
So it's just yeah, people are so kind here and willing to help, and you have to be willing to say yes and get out of your comfort zone,
Yeah.
and put yourself out there. And for me, that's been tough, but it's also the mentality of like, if I don't, then I'm not going to build community here, which is going to be how I stay here long
Yeah.
term.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need community regardless of where you are, but also people are just like you said, they're curious and they're willing to be a part if you'll let them.
Yeah, And you probably have to spend a lot more time alone. I mean, your flatmates you have, but they're at work and stuff, and they've
Yeah.
got their stuff. So, like, what do you think you've learned about yourself now, not only navigating this change, but also you probably only with yourself a lot more than you were before?
Yeah, yeah, I would argue I'd say about 90% of my day is by myself. At first, I think the biggest thing I've learned is that I dwell a little too long on how hard things are and making a shift to focus on the good things that are happening, which I feel like that's just how our brains are wired. Like we're wired to look for patterns and routines, and if you're only used to things being hard and sucking, like that's what you're going to look for. But I guess I've realized how much I have a lot more courage and strength in me than I realized. And I don't even know how to put words around this, but it's just I'm doing it. I'm doing it scared. Some days are better than others, but like I'm still waking up every morning and choosing to engage with the world that's in front of me,
Yeah,
even when I am overwhelmed, but also learning how I'm working on balance right now. And I realized prior to getting here, I had no balance in my life.
ye
It was very much go, 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 whether it was with work or with friends. And so I'm learning balance and how to lean on my community a little better because I had a rough day the other day and I reached out to a friend that I made and it's like, hey, this is sucking. I need someone just to like know what's going on right now.
yeah.
She was great. She's like, "I love you. I see you. Let me know if you need anything." And I was
Mm.
like, "Thank you so much."
I made one of the first friends I made here, I realized I was just, like, sharing everything with her right away, like, the kinda stuff that
Mhm,
they would be, like, a long-term friend, but
mhm,
she became, like, that person so quickly, I mean, like, deepest, darkest things, it was just, like but then, yeah, we became really close really quickly because I was basically had no like, I was just leaning on her for all the
mhm.
things, and, I was like, "Well, nothing makes you get, like, this deep connection above me on the small talk when
Yeah,
yeah, I was just kind of because again, like you, I had a super, super busy full life, like, probably too
yeah,
as well, so
yeah.
having to spend so much time with myself, I did not like that.
Mhm,
I
yeah,
comfortable with that. I went to coffee one time early on with, another immigrant, and he was just like, "This is gonna go in my list of gratitudes tonight." I'm like, "What?" And, like, I'm aware
yeah,
like, I've taught my kids, like, "What are your peaks? What are your valleys?" All that stuff, but,
yeah.
like, he said every day because it was such a struggle here, and also English wasn't his first language, he would write down the good things that happened in the day. So,
Mhm.
just having a coffee with you, that's one of my good things today. And when he'd write it down, he's like, that's a good that's a lot of good." And so it gave him perspective.
Yeah,
And so I was like, "Oh, that's
yeah,
good."
yeah. Yeah, I like, my IRD number came in yesterday, and I
Yeah.
immediately called my sister and celebrated, or even, like, a week or 2 ago, I took the bus for the first time and didn't need to use my phone to navigate, and
Yeah,
I celebrated so hard with that.
you
And
have
so,
to
yeah, exactly, you have to celebrate the little wins. Even just getting dressed in the morning, because there I guess some days it's okay to be in your pajamas all day, but, like, I for my mental health, I cannot do that every day. Even if I'm gonna stay at home all day, I have to get dressed and get ready, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, like, definitely I would, like, just make up a routine.
Mhm,
It's just like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the butcher and get meat because I like that. When I'm really busy, I can't go around to
mhm,
those things, but when I'm not busy, like, so
mhm.
when I'm working, it's not really like that, but now and I'm like, I'll walk down to my local butcher and get, like, the one
Yeah.
dinner, and then I'll go to the local produce store and get, like, the produce,
Mhm,
like, dinner, and I realized that, like, those little, like and then the interactions with those shopkeepers, like, those fill my
mhm.
day with, like, nice interactions and like you said, people are nice. So, this is my friends have seen that TikTok since I started it, like, American friends, and they're like, "Oh my god, everyone is so mean to you, I can't handle it, they're so mean." I'm like, "That's not how it is in real life." Like,
Yeah, no,
no one
no.
acts like that in real life.
Yeah. One, like, quick tangent of a piece of advice, everyone here says please and thank you. Like, you have to. Does not matter if it's the bus driver, if you're ordering something at a restaurant, like you say, please and thank you for everything, which I love, but it definitely is something that I have to remember, actively remember to do.
That's interesting because I grew up being taught that, I think, but my husband really
Mhm,
that into my children in America, like, they do, but also I know if he holds the door for someone in America and they, like, just walk he holds the door open and they walk in,
mhm.
he'll be like, "You're welcome."
Yeah,
And I'm like, "Oh my god."
yeah,
But I
yeah.
realize he's like, "Well, I just don't know why they wouldn't say thank you." And I mean,
Eh
15 years of America living with him like
yeah,
that. And so
yeah.
and now I'm here and I'm like, "Oh, that's why," like
That's why. Yeah, yeah, even the the bus drivers make my day. They're awesome, like, the amount of times I've been, like, running to a bus stop and they have, like, stopped and just held the bus because they saw me running. Like, obviously, I'm gonna say thank you, but, but just they're so kind, like, I walk on and they're like, "Hey, how's it going?" I was like, "I know I'm just walking to my seat, but I feel like I wanna stop and have a conversation with
Oh,
you."
I love that. Yeah, that's so sweet. And like I feel like a lot of those I haven't even been on the bus, but my daughter takes the bus sometimes, like with her friends to the mall or something. What
Mhm.
about that? Have you been to a mall?
Mhm.
Did you
Yeah, convenient. Yeah.
malls where you live back home still? Like, was that like a
Uh,
place people go hang out at malls?
yes, but I feel like it's not like it was when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
I feel like when I was a teenager, it was a bigger deal, and maybe that's just because 'cause I've gotten older, but yeah, going to hang out at the mall wasn't as big of a thing in the last, I would say, 10 years. Yeah, which is wild to me because I remember being a teenager and that was, like, the thing you did,
Yeah. Where I
night,
grew up
yeah.
wasn't too far from a mall to just go hang out. Like that mall that was like 45 minutes away, and that's like not in traffic, that's miles.
Yeah.
They closed down. Like a lot of our malls,
Mhm.
my area of America, like they're dead, not
Yeah.
they're not busy. So coming here and seeing these malls be crowded,
Mhm.
lots full, everyone's there. To me, I was like, whoa. I feel like the
Mhm.
90s.
Yeah, it was like 9 o'clock at night, and I went to the mall at Newmarket, and it was packed, and I was like, "It's 9 o
Thursday or
9 o"
Friday.
it was it? No, it was oh, yeah, it was a Thursday because it was last week when we had that monsoon.
Well, the mall
Um,
here close at 6 o'clock, except on Thursdays, they're open late.
wow.
Yeah, so a lot of people complain that everything closes early here, people who are from cities.
Mhm.
They complain that
Mhm.
everything is so early here, and so my husband said when he was younger, they always stayed open late on Fridays, but they were closed on Sundays, there was no trading, on
Oh.
Sundays, that's changed, but yeah, so here, all of our malls, like, stay open late on Thursdays, and I think some on Fridays, but, like, every other day, they're closed at 5 or 6.
Wow,
Have
that
you
sounds
noticed
like no, I hadn't noticed that. Now I feel like I need to go to a mall a little later on a weekday just to see, because that's how it is back where my family is. Everything shuts down by 8 o'clock. Like,
yeah.
you're lucky if something's open past 8, you know?
I think people from, like, big cities more so like India or Asian countries, like, just people I've met at school, they'll be like, "Oh, everything
Mhm,
closes so early here," where I'm, like,
mhm.
42, I'm, like, not going out to do things at 10 o'clock at night generally, so it doesn't
Yeah.
affect me, but younger people that are still used to nightlife or doing stuff at night, like going to stores,
Mhm,
they comment on that, yeah, about
mhm.
how early everything shuts, but that's part of the work-life balance, though. So, like, the worker or the employees don't have to work until 8 o'clock at night, they can go
Mhm,
have dinner with their families. It's not just about being convenience to the consumer, it's about the employees not
mhm.
having to work late, I think, which is
Yeah.
New Zealand just got rated number 1 place in the world for work-life balance on
I believe it. Yeah,
rating.
I haven't even started working and I believe it. I see it, which is I think that's awesome. There's so much science and research behind that being an important part to like living a long and healthy life. And so, yeah, let's I think more places should be like that.
Once you get acclimated and everything's good, what are, like, some things on your bucket list that you wanna do in New Zealand that, you're like, you've seen on social media or you've heard
Yeah.
about?
Yeah, I really wanna do Mount Cook. I've had that as my, lock screen wallpaper for almost a year, a little over a year now. I guess it feels like a lot of exploring of the South Island, like Mount Cook, the Lupin Fields once summer rolls
Yeah,
around. Definitely wanna do the hot springs. I don't know if it's something I would necessarily do, but it's on my radar. There's a hike you can do, from tip to tip of the country. I forget his name, but he's from Australia. He did it recently. Uh, and it's supposed to be a really spiritual experience. I'm not 100% sure what the, like,
so it's a hiking trail,
legend.
it's not like okay, cool.
No, it's a hiking trail from top of the country all the way down to the southernmost point. I wanna see as much of this country as possible. Like, I am hoping and praying every day that I get to stay longer than a year,
Yeah,
but if this is all the time that I have, then I wanna make the most of it.
yeah.
I wanna rent a car and go camping for, like, a week or 2. Yeah, I wanna see everything. Maybe do a small trip to Australia just 'cause it's right there. Yeah, and I'm here, so it's gonna be the cheapest it will probably ever be to just pop over. So,
And
yeah.
warms up, like, so that van that I hated at first, my kid
Mhm,
and I have slept in that many times,
mhm,
and then the van's kind of expensive on petrol, so when it's nice out,
yeah,
throw a tent in the car, and I might not even know
mhm,
where we're going, but we'll, like, when it's warmer, the weather's cooperative, and we just,
mhm,
like, will camp on a beach and sometimes
mhm,
you hop into a campground if you have a tent, it's only, like, 15 bucks, and you can use their amenities and showers and cook
yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever, and so there's definitely, like, low budget ways to travel.
mhm,
Petrol is
mhm.
cost a lot,
Yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
had that realization yet literally yesterday of how much it would be in American dollars for petrol here, and I called my friend and I was like, "Can you believe this? I did whatever it was like 10 something American dollars for gas." Yeah, and I was like, "No wonder people are like, it's so expensive." So maybe it's a blessing that I don't have a car right now.
Well, my daughter was talking about how she's like, "Why don't kids when they turn 16 just get their license right away?" And I'm like, "'Cause it's not just getting the license, it's expensive."
Mhm.
And she goes, "Well, they can still get their license even if they don't have a car." I'm like, "Yeah, but,
Yeah, I guess.
yeah." I'm like, "It's also like where we lived, it's too rural. There's no public transportation. You're really not riding your bike and you're not walking. Kids rely on the vehicles for their independence. Here, they don't have
Mhm.
that as much. So
Yeah,
a different life."
yeah,
Of course, she's 14.
yeah.
She was like, "Well, I'm gonna get my license right away." I'm like, "We'll see." Yeah, "We'll see what
We'll see.
as you think you are." Um,
Yeah.
because even now, I mean, she still hangs out with us a lot, she's not, like,
Yeah.
doing her own thing that much.
Mhm.
Other Americans I know here who are her age, they come here and they just, like, free reign they love the
Mhm.
independence they have here with the busing and everything like that, so
Yeah.
they can just
Yeah.
live this completely amazing independent teenage life. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
It blows my mind too. And I think that's more so just American culture of me learning how things operate here, but just, like, seeing kids that I'm like, "You are not more than 10 years old, and you're on the bus by yourself or even with a friend," and I'm like, "That is not a thing that you see in the States."
First time my daughter took the bus, she was 11 with her other 11-year-old friend, but that 11-year-old had a phone, but my child didn't have
Yeah.
a and they took it to the mall from close to my house.
Yeah.
I was in anxiety the whole time, and I'm not
Yeah.
a worrier. I'm not even
Yeah.
I was just like, "Okay, call me when you get there. Call me when you get there."
Yeah.
And then it's like, "Okay." And then even being in the mall, my husband was like, "Don't take your money out," because, like, older teenagers and stuff, would steal money. Like, they're still
Yeah.
times. The next time she asked to go, I said no because it actually was not worth your independence was not worth my stress, but
Yeah.
I've gotten over
Yeah.
that. Now she's 14. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got over it. It took time, because
Yeah.
I came around. I got more relaxed. And
Yeah, no, if it makes you feel any better, my mom, same thing, especially the first, like, couple of weeks here. I would tell her that I was going somewhere, especially, like, if it was later at night, and I mean, I roughly hold a rule for myself of, like, if I'm not already on the bus by like 9:30 at the latest, then I need to figure out a different way home. But I was telling my mom that I was going somewhere and it was going to be late. And she's like, well, like, can you ask someone to take you home? And hadn't really met anybody yet. And I was like, no, mom, I cannot ask somebody to just take me home. And so like even for myself, building up that confidence. So like it's okay that I'm on the bus at 10 o'clock at night. It's not like I'm doing it every night, but like situational awareness is a great skill.
Does your mom get nervous, like, when you
Yeah.
talk? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just it's more so she's worried about my safety, understandably. New country, single female, and sure, yes, I get it. I understand where she's coming from, but I also think it's some of what we just talked about of, like, in America, that's not really a thing in our culture, so whereas here it is, you
Yeah.
know? So
It was funny because you said your heart's open if there was, like, a Kiwi boy to come into it. But I joke around. I convinced a Kiwi to marry me in 11 months. I can't convince a Kiwi to hire me. Um
yes. Yeah,
And because I have what the people I have been hired by aren't Kiwis. I got thinking about that.
yeah,
They're other immigrants from other countries, like Canadian, Irish, Australian, like, I
mhm,
think about that. So, yeah, and it was funny because, obviously, the internet wasn't a big thing back then, definitely not social media. I think Facebook was just out, but, yeah, my husband, like, he this is 20 years ago here, but being this American girl here, he thought that I was, like, exotic.
I love that.
Funny
I
because
love that.
he would never obviously say that or anything, like, now
Yeah,
that he's traveled a bit and lived in different places, but he had
yeah,
kind of been in New Zealand his whole life, and, yeah, I was, like, unique in to him, and, like, he thought I was very bold and,
yes,
like, just said what I thought, yeah. Um,
yeah,
but
yeah,
he appreciated that because it was, like, so different, but I was
yeah.
like, "Yeah, but I need Kiwis in today's world to appreciate this boldness," and,
Yes.
that's not such an easy feat.
No, yeah, no, I've heard that a lot since I've gotten here. It's just like everyone assumes that because you're American, you're loud and you're bold, and I think just as, like, America has a broad spectrum, like, that's what we're known for, and I feel
Yeah.
like most Americans fit that profile, but I would like to think that I'm not a very loud and bold person, but I think in contrast to, like, your typical Kiwi, in a lot of ways, yes, I am a lot louder and a lot bolder in what I want, and that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's, like, fine. Some, like, appreciate it, so it obviously it works for us, but I guess it's just that self-awareness that I've had to develop as well. Like, I mean, just being conscious of, like, like, who I'm around and, what their threshold of me is.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, well, it's funny because my 2nd episode I did, which seems like forever ago, was, like, back, I don't know, in April, was a guy from Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
That's where he had grown up, but then he was living in, like, Virginia or DC, and then
Mhm.
he also said, like, Hawaii's home. So, it was interesting, and, yeah, I always this doesn't happen, but I always say, like, for the American family and the New Zealand family, you should just meet in Hawaii, so, like, no one has
Yeah,
to, like, have a
yeah.
holiday, Christmas, or something, like, in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I mean, my friends, gosh, I love them, but they because they love me so much, they're like, "We really" one of them in particular, he's like, "Olivia, I wanna set you up with someone, but, like, I haven't found anybody that I think, meets the standard that they need to be at." And I was like, "Yeah, I appreciate that." And they're like, "Okay, well," like, essentially, they wanna be at my wedding. I'm like, "Okay, well, if I do meet someone here, like, I can't justify going all the way back to the South for a wedding. I don't know if I can ask them to come all the way here." So I'm like, "Maybe we just meet in the middle in Hawaii," and,
Yes,
like, everybody
I
yeah,
approve.
just goes there. Yeah.
That's so fun. Okay, well, I will let you go and I really appreciate. Do you have any last pieces of advice or like what you've learned along the way that would help someone or just even learned about
I think oh gosh. Like, I think you're not something I said about Hawaii, and I feel like it's applicable here, is the island will change you if you let it,
okay.
and it will change you for the better. And I know even the month that I've been here, I am not the same person that I was when I got here, but
Yeah.
yeah, and so, like, I'm excited to see the as much as I'm, like, ready to be settled and in a routine and whatnot, I'm trying to take time to enjoy this, like, in process phase, and even a year from now, I'm excited to see how being here has changed me and shifted things for me. So just, yeah, be open to what the universe throws your way.
Just touching on that too, my husband had said this to me once too, like after the hard parts and then like things were settled. And then but then I start to get restless again.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, wait, do I crave the chaos? Or like
Yeah.
it's almost like the challenges like keep you going, which is why I enrolled in school here too. Cause I was like, oh, I need to challenge my
Mhm.
brain to do something. Cause yeah. So it is interesting when it's hard, I complain. But then when
Yeah.
it's too easy, I'm like, well, I gotta shake it up.
I gotta do something, yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think for sure, it definitely you have to allow all of it. It's like to change and to
Mhm.
grow. And even that's what's crazy. I'm like as old as I am, but growing never stops.
Yeah.
If you allow it to continue, it will. Yeah, you'll always keep growing and learning and developing new skills. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, I think yeah, you're gonna have such a fun journey,
Yeah.
and hopefully the money comes in, and then that's where like more fun can
It
happen.
will. Exactly. And I know it will. I know it will, and it will come in exactly when it's supposed to.
For sure. Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much.